Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports.
Have fun with the guys at the bar talking sports, Dad.
Welcome, everybody, to Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. We got the sports fans out there listening to the show. You might have saw us go live on Facebook right before we started this show, but if you are listening and you're a Facebook group member, thank you very much. This is the show where we record at a bar, hanging out, drinking beers or whatever else people drink, I guess.
Makers.
Makers, yeah. Bourbon. And do whatever you want to do on the show, except we keep it family friendly and all that. But get this, y'all. Last week, we had some beers bought for us, if you remember. And then this week, we got the money rolling in, baby. Thank you very much.
Back to back.
Back to back, yeah.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
We do work for beer. That's all we do. And we got money from a few people. Let's go ahead and start off. We received beer support money from Carl Giles, who is the #1 Tennessee fan in the country, is my understanding.
I love it, Carl. Thank you.
Even bigger than Cookie DC.
Even bigger than Brookie DC, that's right. And then we got money from Deb Grebe, is that how we pronounce her last name? Deb Grebe. And I don't know how she afforded it because she has a kid at Clemson right now. If you got a kid at Clemson, you can't afford to do anything. And she sent us some money for some beer, so thank you all very much. We have a strong beer habit around here. And we need all the support we can get. And then, who's that right there?
That must be one of...
Is that Carl Giles?
No.
That is Carl Giles.
Oh, I forgot. Okay, I got you. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good. Never mind, I can't read.
All right. Well, did you drink one too many of those makers and those bourbons that you have there, or what? Man?
Not yet.
All right, so let's do some intros. So we have the free agent himself showing up for the first time this season, and we never got him under contract, but we did contract him for one day, and you heard him talking himself.
Is this
DC.
Is this one of those one-day get-back-to-the old team retirement type contracts?
It kind of is, right?
Yeah, I mean, he came out of retirement.
Came out of retirement for today.
Today only.
And I appreciate the invite up. And I'll answer the question. I am drinking a pumpkin ale because it is seasonal, baby.
Okay, got you, man. That sounds really good. It is seasonal. We got my man, the Ripper, who does not have a drink.
Yeah, I'm in between drinks waiting for it to refill. Soon I'll have an ice-cold Shiner Bock in my hand.
I ordered it for you, and she hasn't brought it yet?
Well, there's a lot of people to go around.
There are, okay. I would let her know, hey, where's my brew, and put it on my tab, because, you know, we have beer money now.
They taste better than when I have to pay for it. So.
Yep. We're going to skip, we're not going to introduce the Rebel himself.
Hey, and you all know what I'm drinking every week.
Yeah, he's drinking Jack Daniels and Coke.
I'd rather you puke in my mouth.
It's that brown water, baby. Kentucky brown water. Enjoy it.
It is indeed, sir.
And I got Milwaukee's best itself.
And guys, if you could see this Stein that he's sucking out of right now.
Ultra. I'm preparing for the Stein holding contest this week in the MJs. If you're going to come, bring your A game, because I'm here for the win, baby.
This mug is like, I kid you not, like 120 ounces that he's drinking.
But you did kind of, let your secret method out.
I have a weight pack in the front of my belly that distributes the weight evenly so that I have extra leverage going on. So I got an icebreaker that I wanted to talk about, right? We call it the icebreaker. It's actually called Order Up. So Brookie DC, this season, I'm doing segments of the show, right?
Organized.
This is called Order Up because at a bar, whenever there's an order, you order it up, right? That's the first thing you do. So we're going to throw this order down. Looking at the last several weeks of football, I think we're seeing cracks in some of these teams play, right? Especially in those unbeatable, quote-unquote, unbeatable teams that we've talked about, like Alabama and Georgia. Georgia is great, but we saw against Mizzou, we saw against Kent State, that they have weaknesses that can be exploited by a team, by the right team, Alabama versus Texas, and Texas A&M, same thing. Showed a little bit that they're beatable. The only unbeatable I see that's dominating every week is Ohio State. Now that might be because they haven't played anybody. We're not sure. And they don't play anybody again until like
2 weeks.
November.
2
Yeah,
weeks.
Penn State.
They got Penn State in
and
2
then at
weeks.
the end of the season they got Michigan. I think that they're unbeatable in those two places as
All you can do is play your schedule.
Correct. That's not your fault. I would agree with that 100%.
Your schedule's your schedule, but there are matchups like Minnesota's a terrible matchup for Ohio State, and they go to Minnesota, so that's a terrible matchup for them. It all comes down to
I don't think we play Minnesota this year.
I thought we did.
Well, I don't care if they do. I think the Minnesota boat lost an oar somewhere along the way.
It has. Agreed.
It has, but 2 weeks ago they were saying something different about them. They were saying that Minnesota might go all the way in the West. The West
is weak.
The West is weak. Yeah. Iowa can't put up
Usually you
points.
can say Iowa, Wisconsin. They don't have it this year.
Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Illinois is the number one team over there right now. I think is that.
Illinois is not an easy out.
They're
They're
number
5-1,
24,
right?
24
yeah,
now.
yeah.
But they're not going to beat Ohio State. So
No,
they
there's
can
no
win the
way.
West, but they're not going to beat Ohio State.
Yeah, so Ohio State has a pretty easy road to be in the top four.
Yeah, they got Iowa.
Pending injury, Ohio State runs the table, in my opinion.
Got Iowa in 2 weeks, followed by Penn State, Northwestern, Indiana, Maryland, and then Michigan.
Yeah.
So to the point of the Ohio State argument, here's the thing. Their schedule is not what it typically is. I think even my man here would agree with that. I mean, the quality of what they're playing, that ain't their fault. That's just the teams are down this year. That can be good and bad because of two reasons. One, you get into your final weeks of the season when it matters, and you're healthy because you've not been playing these teams that go out of their way just to beat the crap out of you. But number two, it can be a negative because how many times have you seen a dominant team all year get in a dogfight that they haven't been in before, and now you're going to test their manhood as to what are they bringing to the table. Can they walk through it? Absolutely. Ohio State has a ton of talent. They've shown that. But is it one of those things of, oh no, we've 5 minutes left in the game and we haven't been pressed like this yet? Do they crack under the pressure? Only time's going to tell.
Well, I will answer that with the first game of the year against Notre Dame. They ended up winning by 11 points, but that was a close game for the first half, into the third quarter.
But every other game, they've dominated them.
But one stat to keep in mind, they are scoring at a clip better than we've ever seen. For the first time in Ohio State's history, they've scored 45 in 5 straight games. So offensively, they're clicking. Defensively, they're getting some turnovers, and they're much improved from last year. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be interesting to see. So where do teams like USC, UCLA, Texas Tech, Clemson, Penn State, Michigan, all undefeated teams, right? USC and UCLA in the Pac-12, no one's going to beat either of those teams except for either of those teams will beat each other. But one of those teams is going to go 12-0.
So what I predict in that, one of them will. One of them is going to get stung by Oregon. And Oregon might get them both. You never know. But it depends on where the game is. Are they going to Eugene? Oregon has the talent to do it. They just haven't gelled the way everybody else thought they would. So can Oregon go into either place or have them come visit and beat them? Absolutely. They absolutely can. Their first game, I think you're going to look at the end of the season as the outlier.
So, Hanger, to answer your question on this segment, I'm going to have to wait until we get to our What the Fuck moment.
I like it. And I promise I will not interrupt it this week.
But what about Texas Tech? Like they're
No.
Okay,
No.
TCU.
Look, Texas Tech has
TCU's real.
TCU's problem is they're a little different than Texas Tech.
Both undefeated.
Texas Tech is the typical Big 12 team that has no idea what the concept of defense is. If they're going to beat you, they're going to try to outscore you. And as soon as they find a lockdown defense, whether that be, I want to go TCU maybe, because TCU may have the best defense in that whole conference. So that's possible. Again, I feel like Texas Tech's going to do the same thing you see every year with these Big 12 teams. They put up big stats, big points, they run into a defense, and they fold like a lounge chair. TCU, on the other hand, I'm just not sold yet.
Okay, and we've all talked smack about Clemson all season as well.
I'm still not sold on them.
But they're playing decent ball. They're playing the ACC, not a hard place to play at all.
Well, their quarterback plays better. He's obviously much improved from the previous year.
Yep.
But how deep is the ACC?
Not.
It's not.
But Clemson's ranked number 4 right now. They've jumped Michigan, even though both teams played unranked teams and both teams played about the same last week.
In my opinion, Clemson, now granted to their credit, they've earned this right.
They've earned the right to be in the top 4.
Well, no. They've earned their right to get the benefit of the doubt. So there are teams that Notre Dame is one of them, like it or not, who was preseason ranked top 10?
5, 6, 5 or 6.
Okay, so for what you've done historically, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt based off what you look like on paper, whether you've performed at that level or not. Clemson has now worked themselves into that conversation, and good for them for doing that.
But Michigan is not. Then Michigan's outside that conversation.
Michigan
right
hasn't
now.
played anybody.
But if you want to look, Michigan, when did Michigan become relevant again? 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Michigan went through a drought to where they
they're
were
going
awful.
to play, but they haven't played anybody yet.
So let's get rippering on this
But
then.
Clemson has beat 2 ranked teams. They beat Wake Forest when they were ranked. They beat NC State when they were ranked.
Absolutely.
Dogfights they've won. So is Clemson above Michigan? Absolutely.
Because of
Because
that.
we all know 2 things. 1, they're going to have a close game with Penn State if they win that game. And 2, Ohio State's going to rout them at the end of the year.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the end of the year. We're talking about right now.
I get
and when
that.
we talk about things like they've earned that reputation, last year Michigan beat up on Ohio State pretty bad.
But you got to
What I'm saying-
And so far this year, after being a playoff team last year, they have had a pretty solid defense. They've got a new quarterback who is one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the country. They got a hell of a running game. I don't understand why they dropped.
No, so what I'm saying is when I say that historically speaking, as I just said, Michigan realistically for a national title type conversation has gotten back there in 2 years. They went through a big period of being 7-4, 8-3, and it was considered a successful season. Let them do what they've done the last 2 years for the next 4 years. Now they're back in that conversation.
Exactly.
In that
So
conversation,
Clemson is only at number 4 because they have a historically
It
good
has
team.
nothing to do with this year,
It
is
has
what
nothing
you're
to do with
telling
this
me.
year.
it has to do with this year in the fact that they have not lost a game. That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, do I think they're a top 4 team? No, I don't. Are they a top 10? Maybe. They're not a top 4 team.
Now they did beat Wake Forest and NC State, like we said. And Wake Forest is a pretty good team. So is NC
So
State.
So I know there's a lot of, you've got people who have favorite teams in a lot of different conferences. Can we consensus say the SEC is the best football conference in the country,
Absolutely.
top to bottom?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This season, it's been that way
Okay,
for a long
so
time.
what I
yeah.
always like to go back to is, so you take that, and I know that's not the case, but when you say, well, they beat NC State, they beat Wake Forest, where does NC State right now if they're in the East? 4th?
Yeah, they would be.
Maybe 3rd in the West? You see what I'm saying? So that's what I kind of look at this. You put them in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they're having a hard time.
Yeah, but right now we don't know where Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, or even Illinois would be at in the SEC East or West. We can assume based off of precedent. We can assume, but we don't know.
I would put it to you like this. When you look at Clemson, who was 3-3 tied against a Boston College team who is awful. Now, granted, they ended up blowing them out in the second half. You've not had Ohio State, Michigan, or any of those guys have that. Maryland, you could say with Michigan, maybe, but you just haven't. Again, it's a matter of opinion.
I mean, last year we had, a 10-3 Georgia over Clemson opening game, and we thought both teams were kind of garbage after that. Georgia went on to win the national championship. Clemson took a little step back, but they finished 10-3.
My caveat to that is, you can look statistically speaking, the biggest
Love that
jumps,
word.
the biggest jumps in every school, doesn't matter good, bad, or indifferent, is between week 1 and week 2.
So, let's go ahead and pivot this thing over.
Sure.
Because we've been talking
Pivot.
about. And my man, Brookie DC, is the pivot master. He was I was waiting for him to pivot.
I was about to.
He's a pivot master, all
He
right.
is the pivot master, yeah. So, one thing that will determine whether Michigan really is the number 3 or number 4 team in the nation is going to happen this weekend if they can beat Penn State, number 10, right? If they can beat Penn State, who's number 10, then we could probably, and Clemson it still has some wishy-washy wins and all that stuff, then we could probably say that Michigan be in that conversation for the top 4. Let me finish my point before you start screaming. All right, so, but, after last year's playoff run, no one thought Jim Harbaugh was going to come back with another team that can do it and be in a playoff run again. But they are. They found their quarterback situation. They still have solid defense. They still have solid offense. Everything's kind of clicking the right way. But Penn State, on the other hand, I don't think they've been blowing people out. I feel
They blew out Auburn.
Who is arguably the worst team in the SEC.
And I said
Sorry,
that,
Chopper.
And I said that 3 weeks ago, and nobody was on my side with that.
But they're 3-3?
I think they are 3-3. Yeah, but Penn State has not had the great, the good margins of victory. So
That's never been their thing.
that
Not since the 90s.
So my thing is this: to your point of what you're making is who should be 4, 5, 3, 6, 8. Doesn't matter.
well, I'm saying this will define if Michigan beats Penn State, then they can be arguably the top 4 team.
To your point, the season, and we know in the Big Ten is very back heavy with their premier games most of the time.
That's
the
true.
season's just going to play out, and what you're going to see is, unfortunately, with Clemson, they've beaten NC State, they've beaten Wake Forest. They really don't have a premier matchup left.
Yeah, their
and
final
all these
game-
other teams, don't call South Carolina a premier matchup, please. The only thing they're going to have is an ACC championship game, and is that really a premier matchup? So therefore, what you're going to see is they're going to start sliding because everybody else is going to start playing the teeth of their schedule and playing better competition. And I'm sorry, if Michigan goes in and beats Ohio State,
It's not nice to point.
I'm not pointing. What's going to happen is there's nobody that can argue that they should be in that hunt.
Hey, I'm going to get to this in a little bit, but this is going to be irrelevant really soon.
Okay, I'm good with it.
So talk to me, man. What are your thoughts on this game?
Which game are we talking about?
We're talking about Michigan, Penn State.
I think it's going to be a close game. I think Michigan pulls it out at home.
Where's that game out again?
Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
The big
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, I think Michigan, what I think about that game is in the first half, it's going to be kind of tight. I think talent and depth will pull out. Michigan will pull it out in the second half and win by 10 points.
Okay. So I have there's a guy on our Facebook group, John Odermatt, who I know just through the podcasting world, and he's a Penn State grad. So he's saying that it's an even matchup. Does anyone think it's an even matchup?
Well, Sean Clifford's got a lot more experience than J.J. McCarthy does at quarterback.
Yeah.
So I would give the edge to Clifford based off of experience, but McCarthy has a lot more talent and upside.
Okay.
But just experience in big games, I'll go with Clifford.
Yeah.
Running back, it's about a wash. Quorum is having a great year, but they've got some stud freshman running backs from Penn State.
Yeah.
Defensively, I'd give the edge to Michigan and probably special teams as well, and that's why I'm leaning Michigan in this one.
All right, so we're going to do this next game really fast, okay?
All right.
We got 2 minutes on this game, and the reason why, we already brought these two teams up. Number 8, Oklahoma State versus number 13, TCU. Let me know what your thoughts when I break this thing down, okay? Both teams' defenses are actually worse than UConn and UMass's defense, right? As total defense. But both teams have pretty solid offenses. TCU is number 3 total offense in the country.
I think they're both averaging 46.8 points a game.
Yeah, so that particular game right there, I give it to TCU just because they have a more dynamic defense. Offense.
They don't play defense in the Big 12.
We've already established that in this conversation.
It's a shootout, but TCU comes out on top.
Where's the
Y'all
game?
don't agree with me on
Where's
that?
the game?
No. It's at TCU.
No, I think Oklahoma State is more legitimate than people are giving them credit for. You know, they've had a lot of hype over the years, and then they find a way to stomp the toe. I think this year they're kind of very quietly going about their business, and I think that's a benefit to them.
All right, 2 minutes is up.
All right, go move. Bye.
I
State.
think the mullet brings it home.
Yes.
I agree.
Okay, the mullet brings
Anybody
it home.
dissent from that real quick?
How old is he now?
Gundy?
I'm 40. I'm a man.
I bet he's 50 now.
So you just
He
heard
sounded
the
just like him.
you just heard him come in. It's Chopper just in time for some
Chopper.
What's up?
SEC talk. What are you drinking, Chopper? That's a nice dark
That's
beer.
dark.
That is dark.
Old, tasty
Beer.
vanilla porter.
Oh,
Oh,
vanilla
no.
porter.
That's a good one.
That sounds delicious.
Delicious.
All
Straight
right.
out of Breckenridge.
So this is a controversial statement. I have a
Here we go.
surprise for y'all a little bit, by the way. Keep listening, listener. if you're listening, keep on listening. Because I'm gonna pull some craziness. I got a brand new segment for y'all.
We'll get
just
on
in
with
time
it.
for Brookie DC.
2 minutes. You got to get on with it.
All right. Probably the most controversial statement of the day. This might be the most important game of the season. Number 16 Mississippi State versus number 23 Kentucky. I'm just kidding, but
That's a pretty important damn game, though.
no, Kentucky coming off a loss to South Carolina.
Game's at Kentucky, correct?
Will Levis is not.
Levis is back.
No, he's not guaranteed. He's
think he
practicing, but he's most likely going to be sitting out, is what I've been hearing.
If he does not play Mississippi State in a rout,
But if he
If
does,
he does play, Will Rogers still destroys Kentucky's defense, and Mississippi State wins that football
if he
game.
does play, he's not at 100%. And to beat Mississippi State, you got to be at 100%. Mississippi
More
State,
cowbell, man. Gotta
more
have
cowbell.
Mississippi State's rolling right now, baby. You got to roll with them.
Wildcats by 14.
Really?
Yeah.
You think it's going to be? Wow.
Yeah.
You have not been watching.
That's
Will
the Big
Rogers
Ten
at all.
talking. That's the Big Ten talking.
Yeah. Now,
SEC. Okay.
I think Mississippi State has the defense to stop Kentucky's offense, even with Will Levis playing.
But did you see the stat on Will Rogers today? Will Rogers has like 2,200 yards about throwing on the year.
Yeah.
He's destroying Hooker and
He's actually
Bryce Young.
2,800 yards.
Well, no, it's not that many. It's like 2145
Oh, is
on
it?
the
Okay.
year.
He's got 22
But even
touchdowns.
So, the next closest one is, I think, Bryce Young or Hendon Hooker, and they're like 14 or 1,600.
Yeah, he's number
Will
one.
Rogers is killing it right now.
Yeah, he has
Throwing for the most yards.
He's number
definitely
one in
putting up
yards.
big numbers.
Number one in
Second
yards, number
touchdown.
2 for
I
touchdown.
saw a stat today. He did that, and he beat the record in 28 games versus Aaron Murray's like 50 or 60 games.
Yeah, he's
It's like
Yeah.
half the amount of games.
And this
Yeah.
is a man not even in the Heisman conversation, but he is
he will
lighting
be.
it
If
up.
he continues this in the SEC, he will be entering that conversation. In
But again, let's not forget about who his head coach is
Well,
in
and
that
I'll
offense.
be real interested to see if
Oh, yeah,
they're
he slings it,
Alabama's
baby.
second loss.
I'm on
I
the
think
boat.
they'll be Alabama's second loss.
I mean, Graham Harrell passed for like 5,000 yards one year.
I'm on the boat with Captain Mike Leach, man. Like, that guy, I think, I've been saying it from the beginning. Y'all know this.
You have.
I've been saying it. They're 5-1 right now. This week they're going to be 6-1. Next week, I think they have a top 10 matchup against. Are they playing Tennessee soon? Aren't they?
Who's that, Mississippi State?
Mississippi State.
No, we
No,
don't
they're
play.
playing Georgia,
They're
sorry.
playing Georgia and Alabama this year.
And
like we do,
Alabama
yeah.
in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. So with that being said, if they come out and win either of those two games, I mean they're still be having one loss. If they win them both, I mean this is a team that can do it.
They're going
I
to lose
think-
this weekend.
No, they're not going to lose this weekend. You've been drinking way too many.
All
of
right,
those
so
cocktails.
we will all remember to play back this very moment at approximately the 23-minute mark.
All right,
Moving on.
moving on. That was not a good. You got a bit
That's
better.
a bad pivot. I haven't been on the show all season.
You're
I'm
not.
sorry.
You
You need
know.
to practice your pivots.
Yeah. Let's focus on the pivot. Next
Focusing
time,
on the
okay?
pivot.
All right. USC number 7 at number 20 Utah. I think Lincoln Riley's team is there's potential there. I don't think that Utah has it in them to beat USC. I don't know. I'm kind of tossed right now because I don't think USC has had that much competition this season. They're undefeated.
Caleb Williams is a stud.
Caleb
He's
Williams,
a straight-up stud.
he is.
I take on this. Utah is Jekyll and Hyde. You really don't know what you're going to get week to week. Sounds like my freaking Mountaineers. You have no idea what team's going to step on the
Yeah.
field. But the fact is this: I'm more and more with every year that he is in charge. I think Lincoln Riley is that good of a coach.
Yep.
That he give him another 5 to 10, he's going to be one of your He's like, I'm not going to say he's the next Dabo, but he's somewhere in that conversation to where he is going to make whatever team he goes to relevant. And from that perspective, I think USC's just got better coaching and they win the game.
I take USC in a great game, but they will get Utah's best shot.
They'll get Utah.
They'll
and
get
they're
Utah's
playing in
best
Utah.
shot.
I don't know how rowdy that stadium is. I mean, only about 10% of the people actually drink in Utah. So
It's not necessarily about the rowdiness. I think it just comes down to they're going to get Utah's best shot, and I think Utah punches them in the nose, but I think USC wins the football game.
my man Chopper is a huge Utah fan. I've been hearing about.
Struggling over here. Who cares about this game?
Okay, I mean, my man Chopper just fell asleep. He's ready to move on to some other big games of the week.
Fair enough.
And there's another big game on our list that we all have to talk about. And everyone on the show that's listening to the show has been waiting for us to talk about this one the entire time. That's number 15, NC State. Against number 18,
They're heading up to
Syracuse.
Syracuse, right? They're going to Syracuse.
They're going up to Syracuse.
That
yeah.
might be the biggest game of the week.
So can NC State handle the chilliness of
The
upstate
indoor
New York?
arena that they play in?
Yeah. It's going to be tough to
The
go
Carrier
against,
Dome? Are you kidding me?
It's going to be tough to go against Syracuse.
Well,
and
Syracuse had a big game against what local high school last week?
I know, it's huge, isn't it?
It's a big one, and Spencer would kill me right now for saying that.
They did knock off Purdue, though.
Here we go.
It isn't great.
Syracuse legitimately has a decent team for where they're at.
You me tell you what you watch when you watch Syracuse, and I love it. You know, are they going to run the table and get in the big time conversation yet? No. But if you watch Syracuse, there's something in the world of NIL and playoffs that has been lost. And it's just enjoying fun and having fun playing the game. And you watch those kids, they're playing balls out. They don't care. They're just hopping around because they're having fun playing this game. Now, could they lose every game they have left on their schedule? They absolutely could. Not likely. But what I like about them is this just looks like a football team. Think about like a middle school team that we run out there and play just because we're enjoying playing this and we really don't care what happens. And that can carry you a long way and get you some wins. I think they win the ball game.
They believe in themselves.
They believe in themselves. Do they have a bunch of 5-star talent, 4-star talent? No, they just got a bunch of guys that love playing with one another, that play together. And when you get that, you can play 4 quarters of football. And therefore, I think they win the ball game up in New York this week.
So you think the Orange wins the football
I
game?
do.
Then?
I do.
All right.
Talk to me about what happened to NC State last week. What happened to Florida State?
19-17.
What happened? When I left and turned that game off, Florida State was winning.
Yeah, Florida State was winning like 17-3.
I did not see what happened. What happened at the end?
I think it was literally just, I didn't watch it, but I mean, Florida State, while they seemed like they were a good team going into the season, and they think they're 4-0.
They choked when they had pressure put against them.
Yeah. I mean, that's all that comes down to is that's a young team. That's a team that doesn't have discipline because last year they had no discipline whatsoever, and then this season they've taken a loss and now they don't have the discipline is gone.
They look at a team that's young. They've got some talent. They've got a new coach that's trying to get them to gel to where on any given day they can put it together and beat you, but then they could lose by 40 points the next week.
Yeah.
That's what you see.
And NC State barely pulled off that win. I think Syracuse is a better team than Florida State for sure.
Kevin Leary gets them over NC State by 10.
You're calling it, huh?
He's going to go against the grain all night. I love it.
I got a new section for you all.
Here we go again.
This is
Something
called. So when you do a keg stand, right? That beer does not stop coming, does it? It just
doesn't take
it
its
just
thumb off the
you're doing a keg
alcohol.
stand and you're just drinking. It's nonstop. So I'm gonna go nonstop around this table, and we're just gonna call out scores on who you think's gonna win and what's the score gonna be. Ready? Go. Georgia and Vandy. Who wins? What's the score? Chopper.
Georgia 63-7.
All right, Alabama, Tennessee, go. Rookie DC.
You can't roll with
All right,
that.
stop. Clemson versus Florida State. Score. Give it to me now.
Clemson wins 47-17.
Georgia, Vandy. What's the score?
Georgia Vandy is 48-3.
Michigan, Penn State. What's the score? Ripper, go.
Michigan 34, Penn State 27.
Ole Miss, Auburn, go. Chopper.
Give me that one.
Chopper's dying.
You gotta be fast. Come on,
Quick.
this is a keg
Quick,
stand.
just let it go.
Auburn 27, Ole Miss 21.
All
Andy was
right,
gone, they don't have
Michigan, Penn State, rookie DC, hit me up. What's your score?
I think Michigan wins that one by 7. So I'm going to
USC,
say
Utah, go.
God, could you jump me in the balls? USC 32, Utah 24.
All right, and we are not going to do Alabama, Tennessee because we're about to talk about
we're
that
going to
game.
talk about it. Here we go.
Is there anybody here that wants to talk about this game?
I would love to talk about
Can
this.
I do the intro of this game?
Go ahead.
Give me a second. I got a slight intro on it, and then I'll let you do
Fair
it. Right?
enough. I'll dovetail off of that.
Listen, if you're not on our Facebook group, the reason why you should be on our Facebook group
Man, this
is
week has been a
Tennessee
hoot,
and
man.
Alabama.
is because of this conversation, Tennessee and Alabama. It has been a ruckus listening to Tennessee fans just crap.
Well, you took it a few weeks ago.
All over, yeah. Crapping all over Alabama. And it's just been funny to watch. Alabama fans, we don't have a lot of them on our Facebook group. That's either a good thing or a bad thing.
No, it's bad, man. We need everybody represented.
We need everybody, yeah. So if you're an Alabama fan, join the Facebook group. But let's go. Go ahead, man. Introduce this game to us.
All right, so I'm going to introduce this game. So, Ray.
Hanger.
Man, you're giving away my name.
So tell me, the intro of the show. What was the intro of our show?
So the intro to the show, I did the fourth quarter game, friends in low places. Every game that Tennessee plays, I guess, going in the fourth quarter, unless they're losing, they play friends in low places.
All right, so
or do they play it every game?
So my take is on this is being very active on our social media. Rookie DC, I see you in there, man. I see your passion. Constance, Carl, Tim, Brian. I see all of y'all's passion, and I can see how hard it has made how hard you've yearned for Tennessee to be a relevant football team again.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. And
You're
the
relevant.
thing is this.
You're relevant. You're there.
The thing is, absolutely they are. And the thing is this. When you have a team that wants to be so good, their homerism goes through the roof. And this year, it's okay, man. Be a homer. You deserve it.
Be a homer.
But what I'm going to tell you
Be
this.
a homer.
But what I'm going to tell you this, guys, is I know a fella in the upstate that will put your homerism to shame. That reached out to me. And let me tell you what. You play Rocky Top, and you follow it by friends in low places. This guy, I don't care what he's doing. He's going to drop it. He's going to grab a stuffed Smoky. He's going to throw on a Tennessee helmet. He's going to throw on a number 7 Tennessee jersey. And he's going to sing, and he's going to dance as hard and as fast as his 3-year-old body will carry him. And all I'm going to tell you is this. I feel bad because the poor boy's mother refuses to put pants on him for whatever reason. And that's okay. But let me tell you what, Landon. You dance and you sing as hard as you can because what you might get to see this week is one of the biggest games in Tennessee history. Take it, Ray.
Boom!
Hey, the listeners can't see, but I want to let you know.
The passion, baby.
Rebel's got a little tear going down his cheek right now.
I know. I should Facebook Live this thing, man. Holy cow. This
And that's
is just
after
crazy.
phone with this one.
Game of the week, SEC Nation is there. College game day is there.
They're both there. Everybody's there. I mean,
Every eye in the college football world has got to be at this game and watch it because it's huge. Is it not huge, Chopper?
You want to tell you?
Hold on. Let me.
Hey, this is every season for an Auburn fan. So, I mean,
Oh, my
okay.
word.
Okay.
He said go home.
It is.
It's a big game.
Can I tell you how big?
How
I got
big
a little
is it?
piece of trivia
Bigger?
that our listener Constance posed me to find an answer to.
Okay.
When was the last time Tennessee and Alabama played one another and both undefeated coming into the game? What year?
1998.
I think it was actually 2006 or 7.
1989, 33 years ago.
Wow.
So you're
in
saying
Alabama.
this game really hasn't meant much for a long time.
It has not, and it does again. I've got another little statistic. As far as winning percentages against Alabama, who has the they don't have a win, they don't have more wins, but who has the best showing against Alabama? It's the War Eagle, right? But who's number 2 historically? The Tennessee Volunteers.
Okay.
So, Hanger, I would like to forego my time, and I would like to give it to somebody else so he can have some more time to talk
Well,
about
hold on.
That's why he's here, man.
Let me say one more thing on this game, okay? It
Look who's calling me.
Auburn University.
Auburn University is calling our man Chopper.
They want money.
You better take that one, yeah. So, this Tennessee team reminds me a little bit of the Florida Gators team a couple of years ago.
Oh
when
my
Kyle-
God.
When,
Really?
When Dan Mullen had he had Kyle Trask, right? Kyle Pitts in a really good offensive unit play in that game.
Who are those
right?
players?
Yeah, this is a team that won
Who
the
are those
SEC
players?
East that year.
No.
This is Tennessee, who, I mean, no one expected that Florida Gators team to win the SEC East that year.
You know what? I would like to buy some of my time back.
But listen, y'all have a great team going into this game. You guys have a great offensive team.
Rookie
But
DC.
that season, Alabama did beat Florida. That was their one loss.
I wasn't
that
going to do
season.
this. I'm going to be quick. You know, this year's Tennessee team reminds me a lot of last year's Ohio State team when they scored a ton of points, were amazing, and sucked on defense. That's all I got.
You know, here's the kicker to that. So
Hold on, let's let someone else
Let
talk.
me know. No, he
All
just
right,
all
you
the time
got
he
it.
wants. I've got my point, but I'm
You
letting
got
that.
it.
fine, and I'll let you have that point. But I will say this: as a legitimate team this year, I do believe, regardless whether it's their backup quarterback or Bryce Young, who comes into Neyland this weekend, it ain't gonna matter. Tennessee's gonna win that football game, whether it's by a point or by a blowout. Tennessee wins the game, and our defense is actually much better than Ohio State's last year. We're actually like the 9th best run-stopping team in the country.
No, overall defense.
Hey, I agree with your prediction that you guys will win the game this week. I think I predicted that at the beginning of the season. However, one caveat, Alabama still wins the national championship after losing to Tennessee this weekend.
We're going to get to that conversation at the
Just
end.
a little bit,
They
yeah.
still win the national championship.
Hold that. Hold it, son.
So Bryce Young comes into town, and he's healthy. He's ready to play, because last week he was dressed. He was going to go in the fourth quarter, possibly. They were talking about it, but he didn't end up having to go in. Bryce Young was ready to go. This week, Nick Saban says he's still day-to-day. He's still talking to the doctors about it, all that. But Bryce Young is most likely going to play in this game. You think that does not matter?
I honestly want Bryce Young to play. I don't want to beat Alabama at their second
Oh,
best.
you want to beat
I want
Alabama.
to beat them at their best.
Yeah, you don't want any excuses.
So honestly,
hanging
I
over your
want
head.
Bryce Young to start the game, and then I want Byron Young to come across the end and lay him down, and he's done for the game. Young versus Young. I got no problem with that. All I'm saying is that Tennessee is legitimate. Tennessee
They
has
are.
proven that they are a great football team this year.
They are.
They've beaten 3 ranked teams,
Yeah.
and they're about to beat their 4th.
I mean, beating them without Bryce
Damn.
Young is like beating Kentucky without Will Levis.
Well, you guys
Correct.
struggle with
I would
that.
agree with that.
Same thing.
I would agree with that.
But yeah,
May I at this point?
So, I want. Like last week, that Tennessee was our question. What team are you most, I guess, surprised about or excited for? Tennessee. They're fun to watch. I'm rooting for them. Unfortunately, I just think Will Anderson is going to have himself a day, and it's going to slow down that very, very potent Tennessee offense. And I'm going to go ahead and say Alabama wins this one in Knoxville by 2 touchdowns.
Wow. Alabama.
I don't want that
One
to
thing
happen.
about Alabama is they show up for big games.
Yeah.
They show up for big games, which has me a little concerned. However, I do like Tennessee, but
Josh
Alabama
Heupel is doing a great
Alabama
job.
will come in more prepared than any team you've ever seen.
More prepared than Florida was.
Yeah.
Well-
and Florida almost beat Tennessee.
you didn't almost beat Tennessee.
Guys, let me explain something.
Tennessee let off the gas pedal at the end of the game.
Let's be real.
But go
Okay,
ahead.
you're full of crap there. I agree with them on that one. Here's the thing, guys. If you can go back traditionally and look as when Alabama has to play probably their marquee game of the season, aside from Auburn, when Auburn's good, that's always the last game of the year, they tend to always get a bye week going into that marquee game. I don't care if it's Georgia. I don't care if it's LSU. They tend to get a bye week going into that game to where Saban has 2 weeks to prepare, get them healthy. They don't have that this week. They're stumbling into this game because of injuries and because of, for the first time in a long time, I feel like when you see an Alabama team walk on the field, there is some doubt of, hey, can he throw that ball? Hey, can he run through this hole? Tennessee has a swagger. There's a key word there. They walk into this game not scared. For the first time in a long time, Tennessee has proven to be vulnerable. Tennessee is questioning what they're doing themselves. They're pulling it out, and good teams will always pull it out. And they very much could pull it out this week. But as I said it right here, last week I was the only one that told you that LSU was going to get throttled. I told you that. I told you on this show, Texas A&M was going to give Alabama the best game they had seen all year. And they did. I'm telling you right now, 27-24, you're going to hear Rocky Top all night long.
Awesome.
Alabama misses a field goal late that will cost them to put this game into overtime.
Anyway.
Correct.
So I know, in playing off of what you said, that this is a team that's coming in with doubt. Alabama has some doubt. Nick Saban is quoted as saying that Milroe plays with anxiety and he doesn't trust him. You know?
That's an excuse.
But that being said, what does that confidence do for the rest of your team if he has to play?
Let me tell you what, Josh Heupel's going to walk in and going, you should win this game. You will win this game. You're going to beat the piss out of these guys tonight. And I'm telling you, you're at home. You are at your game day. You are the better team, and that's going to be the swagger they walk into this game. Even every game has those moments where it gets hard.
A lot of hope in these conversations.
No, there ain't a lot of hope at all. There's a lot of games. Every game has those moments where you have to work through the trenches. You have to get through the hard times. You've got to weather where things aren't going the way they are. And I can tell you at this point, in my opinion, for what that's worth, Tennessee has had close games. Whether you think Pittsburgh's good or not, they had to work hard to get that win. They've also had the blowouts last week against LSU. To me, where we are at this point in the season, Tennessee is a more complete team. They win the ball game.
Well, you said that's your opinion.
In my opinion,
it doesn't really matter that much.
I pick Tennessee too, but the more I think about it, and the more I hear everybody picking Tennessee, the more I become concerned with the fact that there's too many people getting high on this Tennessee team. I'm almost kind of thinking like Alabama.
Right now, to give you some idea, and what I love about what he just made, the boys in the desert know, right?
Yeah.
The boys in the desert always know. The opening line right now is Alabama -7. That's a touchdown.
Wow. All right. So, Rookie DC.
Yep.
We got a new segment. Like I said, we're doing segments now, right? This one is called What the Fuck?
Whoa.
What the fuck? And what that means is what's the what the fuck moment from last weekend, or it could be what the fuck moment from anything. Your wife might have pissed you off. You can say that on here. You can do that as your what the fuck.
You didn't tell me that. That's where mine goes every week.
Well, there you go. This could be just guys in the bar bitching about their wives. You know, whatever you want it to be. So anyway, but we don't do that because we all love our wives. So I'll start it off as the what the fuck. So Florida beat Mizzou 24-17 on Saturday. Great game. I was there. Anthony Richardson threw for 66 yards, passing 3 for 11. Or there were 3
the whole game?
66 yards passing, 3 for 11 third down efficiency, 8 for 14 passing, 1 interception. It was just, Billy Napier is not using him as a dual threat quarterback. He's hesitating on the run every time. Even when the coast is clear, he does not run the ball. I mean, what the fuck, haters?
What the fuck?
Anthony Richardson and Billy Napier need to put AR-15 back to work. Last season, he was AR-15. They take that name away from him, and he ain't playing the same.
Oh, good gosh. Give me a break.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Unleash the guy, man, or get rid of him. Either that, you know what I mean? What the fuck? That's my what the fuck moment. I'll let you think about yours while my man Ripper goes with his what the fuck.
All right, this coming Saturday, 2 top 10 teams are guaranteed to lose as Alabama goes to Knoxville and Penn State travels to the Big House to play Michigan. However, not just 2 teams are going to lose in the top 10. I think 5 of the top 10 teams are going to lose this weekend as USC loses in Utah, TCU beats Oklahoma State, and Florida State upsets Clemson.
Oh,
what?
Now, what that means is next week, that means a top 10 UCLA team will play a potentially top 10 Oregon team, and then a top 10 TCU team will play a potentially top 15 Kansas State team. Now, remember that for my last call.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
All right,
Who's
we'll
up?
go ahead and let my man, the Rebel.
Well, before I get there, I've had about 3 texts now going, guys, you should live stream the entire show. So, by the way, I think they liked it. All right, for that little that little tidbit going into this. So again, as I have to keep this in mind, unless we're going to change the name, this is Guys at the Bar talking sports, not football, and I'm a football guy, so that's mine.
You're what the fuck?
Is there another sport?
No. This is my what the fuck.
Sports are there?
What the fuck? Here's my what the fuck. In today's world, there's people making millions off of stats, and the stats have gotten stupid. This is the first time a man who has a yellow dog that lives in a brick house hit a home run. It's getting ridiculous. But sometimes the numbers are just really cool. They don't tell you anything. It's really cool. As we called last week on this show, Aaron Judge hit his 62nd home run as we were doing this show live. Congratulations to him. I'm not a Yankee fan, but I love Aaron Judge. What's really cool about that, at the end of that game, the record of the Yankees was 99-62. Aaron Judge wears 99. He hit 62 home runs, and it gets even better. It's 61 years since Roger Maris hit 61 home runs. What the fuck?
Coincidence? I think not.
All right. Chopper, give me a what the fuck.
All right, so I'm having a hard time getting, and I'm not an Oklahoma fan, but getting over this Oklahoma-Texas game this past weekend, and this 49-0 routing of Oklahoma, and just Oklahoma football as a whole.
What the fuck, Oklahoma?
Yeah. I mean, what is going on in Oklahoma?
And you got a defensive coach.
Well,
that can't even freaking stop the run or stop anything.
I mean, have the players just given up on him?
They have. They've given up.
And why have they given up on him? Have they?
Well,
or have they changed the system? Or what's going on in Oklahoma?
He talks enough about his coaches. I mean,
what the fuck,
What the fuck, Oklahoma?
Rookie DC.
I got to go all the way down to the bottom of the NCAA here and try to figure out why when Dion went across the field to shake hands with I can't remember his name. Robinson pushes him back.
Yeah.
And then they talk to Robinson after the fact, and Robinson's like, "I'm the SWAC. He's not the SWAC. I'm the SWAC."
No, he was talking about what Deion Sanders did at the beginning.
But he still said he was the conference.
He said he didn't come up and say hi to him, and he walked around him.
But did you see Deion's rebuttal in the interview?
No.
He basically said, we got there late, so I didn't get time to get out there. He says, my pregame tradition is I jog around the field. He had a rebuttal anyway, and then Deion went full Deion. If you haven't seen it, go look at it.
Yeah.
There's a last call. It's a good time.
Moral of the story is overthinkers are always overthinkers.
Overthinkers, and then he's trying to
moral
take
of this
something
story
away.
The moral of this story is the SWAC. You got to do something to be relevant.
You just got swacked.
All right. Last call is actually a section of the show.
Let's do it.
See, we got rid of the transitioner. Transitioner. No, that was
Trading for a loudmouth like me.
Yeah. We just started doing segments of the show, and we even had her do a segment of the show, which is last call. She's the transition. So let's go ahead and transition over to.
So what's our last call?
Last call. Who are your top 4 at the end of the season? So listen. 6 games into the season, we all kind of have a feel of who's going to be where, right? We all kind of have a general idea of what matchups are coming. We see how everyone's playing. We all called our top 4 at the beginning of the season, and some of those people are still there. Some of those people may not be there. I don't know. So my top 4, right now I got Ohio State number 1. Woo! Georgia number 2. I think they go undefeated. I think they win the SEC East. And I hate to say that because Florida should be able to beat them in November. We'll see. I doubt that's going to happen. Number 3, UCLA.
Oh, get that.
Because they have an easy. Listen, they have an easy road to a 12-0 season, and historically,
mine is like the epitome of the opposite.
Historically, if a Pac-12 team is 12-0 or 11-1, they can make it.
And you can blame that for TV.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have Number 4 will be Clemson because they have an easy road to a national or to a top their 12-0 season as well. Ripper, your top 4 at the end of the season. Go.
After 6 weeks of college football, my top 4 has yet to change.
It has not changed.
It has not changed. I am sticking with Ohio State. The Ohio State, Alabama, Oregon, and Kansas
State, baby.
Not changing.
Kansas State. All right.
They got a shot.
So,
give it to me.
I'm going to give it a real quick preface here. As I've told you all along, this is going to be all the boys or utter chaos, and I think it's becoming utter chaos.
It's becoming
utter chaos. So I'm going to give you the real quick utter chaos moment here. Number 1 is Ohio State gets in because Clemson down the stretch plays nobody, and Ohio State's going to run the table.
Clemson has nothing to do with Ohio State.
When they both are undefeated, Ohio State's going to get the nod for the stronger schedule and playing competition. They get in, okay?
Barely as number 4. Okay, go
Just
ahead.
no, it's not. No, I'm not putting it in order.
Okay.
I'm saying if you got 2 teams that are undefeated,
3 more, go.
the chaos. Tennessee beats Alabama. Tennessee stumps their toe against Georgia. Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game to where you have 3 SEC teams in the top 4 with Ohio State. And I can tell you, all hell breaks loose at that point.
That ain't happening. Go.
It's very possible, but I think Mississippi State does beat Alabama, so I'm going to say Ohio State, Georgia, Tennessee, Clemson.
2 from the East. Wow. All right. And Chopper, take it away, man. Who you got?
Georgia, Alabama, 1-2. Y'all are going to hate me for this. I'm actually going Penn State.
Penn State's going to beat
No,
Michigan.
I love it. That's a different call.
Penn State has to play Michigan and Ohio State.
Wow.
I think this Penn State running back, I watched him against Auburn. I think he's a beast.
So they may not put a lot of points, but they got the defense to stop
I
people.
think he's a beast.
And they could put up.
I think you're going to watch Penn State sneak in there.
All right, number 4. Who is it?
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma. Hey, they go undefeated. They're in for sure. All right.
If you do that, you should gamble because if you hit that, you're going to win a lot of money.
You're gonna win a lot of money. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you need to put $1 on that.
I gotta make it interesting.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. Hey, thank everybody for listening. If you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, you need to. Also, if you want to buy us beer at Guys of the Bar Talking Sports at Guys of the Bar Talking Sports on Venmo.
He's had one too many beers. Guys,
that was a lot of
guys,
work.
I will tell you this, amongst ourselves, we've been saying that this has been one of the funnest weeks since we've been doing this for the years, just because of the action on Facebook and the fact that the people listening is increasing every week. We appreciate you. Thanks for all you're doing for us. And
859 now.
dude, it's
Make it
climbing. We're going to hit
funner.
1,000 before we know it.
1,000 people in the Facebook group, lots of listeners, and we go viral. Guys, we're talking sports. We out.
Do you want to help support the show? Well, we're doing it for beer. So go ahead and buy us a beer. You can do that through Venmo at Guys of the Bar Talking Sports, and we'll look forward to drinking that beer on you. If you like the show and you want to help the guys grow the show, go ahead and go to your podcatcher and subscribe to the show. Then you could also write us a review and give us 5 stars. If you do that, it'll help us grow the show. You could also join our Facebook group, which allows you to have camaraderie with other sports fans all over the country. You might even get a free beer out of it. So go ahead and join that group as well. And then check out our Substack, which is guysofthebartalkingsports.substack.com for weekly articles and the Ripper Report.